Senator Roberts.
Thank you. My question is to the Minister representing the Minister for Climate Change and Energy, Senator Wong. Minister, what percentage of Australian greenhouse gas emissions result from agriculture in Australia?
Minister Wong.
Could you repeat that question? We missed the last sort of 15 seconds of it.
Senator Roberts, if you repeat the question, please.
Minister, what percentage of Australian greenhouse gas emissions result from agriculture in Australia?
Thank you, Senator Roberts. Minister Wong.
Thank you, President. Senator, I'm awaiting statistics as we speak, but what I can say to you, and as someone who was the Climate Change Minister, there is opportunity in agriculture to deal with climate change. And, in fact, as you know, the National Farmers Federation for many years had a much more forward-leaning policy when it comes to agriculture and climate change than the Coalition. I'm advised it's in the order of 16–17%. Thank you very much, Senator Watt. To the year to June 2023, the agriculture sector was responsible for 17.7% of Australia's total annual greenhouse gas emissions. Now, modelling by ABARES shows that climate change over the last 20 years has reduced the profitability of Australian farms by an average of 23%, or around 29,200. And I recall one of the early reports I read, which made me so much more acutely aware of the risk to agriculture on climate change, was a report which the CSIRO did many, many years ago. So this is before, I think, we won government in 2007, which predicted or modelled that the Goyder line would move south of Clare. Now, if anybody's from South Australia, now I know that would be very bad news for Senator Farrell in particular, but anyone from South Australia who knows what the Mid-North is like, that is a very frightening prospect. So we do think it is important to look at how it is our food and fibre producers can best adapt to a changing climate. Many are already doing so, and are obviously involved in the discussions with government about climate policy.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Roberts, first supplementary.
Thank you, Madam President. As the World Economic Forum meeting in Davos last month, the American Presidential Envoy for Climate, John Kerry, stated that agriculture accounts for between 26 and 33% of world emissions and will account for half a degree of warming by 2050. He further stated a warming planet will grow less food, not more, and so farming needs to be a major focus of reducing human carbon dioxide production. Minister, how do you reconcile the production of food accounts for between 26 and 33% of emissions with your figure of 17.7?
Minister Wong.
Order. There's a different denominator, Mr Senator. Obviously, one is as a percentage of Australian emissions and one is as a percentage of global emissions. I also am unclear from the context and detail of the quote you gave me whether or not Special Envoy Kerry was dealing with food production further downstream as well. I don't know, what he's referring to, but I certainly agree with what he is saying about the implications for food security. And what is also true, not only is that a substantial issue for Australia because it will affect our capacity to produce the levels of grain production we have, which is obviously very important for our economy. But the nations on whom this will fall most hard are those nations who have the least capacity to be resilient to this change. So if you look at countries like Bangladesh—
The time for answering has expired. Senator Roberts, second supplementary.
Thank you, President. The methane cycle, soil carbon sequestration and forest carbon sequestration absorbs all Australian agricultural emissions, meaning Australian agriculture contributes nothing to global emissions. Minister, is the war on farming not about the environment and rather about creating a false scarcity of food to force the adoption of laboratory-grown food-like substances that predatory billionaires own for their profit and control?
Thank you, Senator Roberts. Minister Wong.
Senator, there's a lot in that question, but I want to just go back to the fundamental proposition. Climate change is already affecting our agricultural production now. and I read you the figures earlier, which is ABARES modelling shows that climate change over the last 20 years has reduced the profitability of Australian farms by an average of 23%, or around 29,200. No, you don't like the facts. You don't like the facts, and we know.
Minister
you don't like the facts.
Minister Wong, please resume your seat. Order on my right. Order on my right. Senator Rennick.
Of order, Chair. Models are not facts.
Senator Rennick, that's a debating point. Minister Wong, please continue.
Models are not facts.
Minister Wong, please continue. Order across the chamber.
You know, Senator Roberts, I understand your views on this. I disagree with them. And what I would say to you is this. If you go and talk to a lot of Australia's primary producers, if you go and talk to primary producers in the Pacific, or in Southeast Asia, the truth is that people are already experiencing the impact of climate change on agricultural production. And we might want to wish it away for ideological reasons, like Senator Canavan does, but